All right, am I live now? I've been having some internet impairment here for the last, well, everything works fine until I try to go live, and then sometimes, I don't have a connection or whatever. So I'm going to start the counter, 30 minutes. You'll notice, if you're here, that we're right where we left off yesterday, except we're not really. Once I got the paper in front of me. Allison, hi. It's good to know that there's somebody here because I know that I'm actually on because sometimes it's not clear. I decided I didn't like what I ended up with yesterday, and I smeared the whole thing out and redrew it. It's essentially like this, only it's better. And I mentioned at the end of the video yesterday that I didn't think that there was anything about this drawing that I could sell. Okay. Generally speaking, I've had this experience before. You take a drawing like this and you go to an art show, and somebody comes up to you and goes, "That's great. That is fantastic. How much is that? I want that. How much is that?" And you say, "Oh, it's $50 or whatever." And they go, "That's a good deal. When could you do it?" And then I'm like, what? It's right here. It's done. And they're like, "No, I don't want a picture of her. I don't know her. I wanted to know when you could draw me." And that seems to be what happens when you have a portrait image up for sale. People seem to take it as an advertisement that you do portraits, and so nobody actually wants a picture of her unless I can turn it into a piece of fantasy art in some way, or something that makes it different, interesting, strange. So what I've got here, I have to do this really quick. What I've got here is my other laptop, my old broken down laptop, and I've got 3 images here of, I think they're Cleopatras from 3 different Cleopatra movies. Yes, a model, sort of. And I have to just cheap and then plug that back in because it has a battery life of about 30 seconds, and that's what I'm using for my model. So I need to keep that up. It also has a broken hinge. It won't stay open unless it's leaning against something, and yeah. And so, all right. So that's what we've got for a model, and I'm going to go ahead and start designing those. Like I said, those were from 3 different Cleopatra films, and they're all a bit of a fantasy version of something roughly like something they found in a tomb or something. And only they made it pretty, designed it to be more in keeping with modern styles. Actually, you can definitely tell it's like that one's in the 30s, that one's in the 50s, that one's in the 90s. It's just a different design sensibilities. And so I'm going to do something like that. Got a piece of white chalk because it'll show up better against this dark stuff. This is, I believe they call it a pastel pencil. Conte de something or other. Yeah, it's really hard to read, but it's printed into the wood there. Uh, I don't know. I don't know. It this brand. It is very chalky. Comes in a variety of colors, but unlike other colored pencils, which are waxy, this is dry and very chalky, and it will wipe back off if you wipe it. Uh, Unlike a Prismacolor pencil or something. Now I'm going to do a thing here that's very challenging. They've got a design on a couple of these that was a swan or a peacock or some kind of bird. They're doing it like this is the bird's head and neck like this. And then there's sort of a scale-like pattern, to suggest its body, which is already looking strikingly like a Thanksgiving turkey. And then there's wing feathers out like this. So it looks like she's got a bird on her head. And it's difficult to draw such a thing straight on without looking ridiculous, because birds just kind of look silly when they're looking straight at you. I'm trying to draw something beautiful and striking and exotic and sexy, and then I'm putting this cartoon in the middle of her face. So I'm going to try to avoid it being too goofy looking. But that's my design. Oh, and by the way, I don't entirely know what I'm doing here. Not only am I kind of making up the design and making decisions as I go, but yesterday was my first time with this type of paper, and so I'm still not used to it. Every piece of paper, every kind of paper, reacts differently to the materials you're using. It will accept to the chalk but be erasable, or it's not erasable, or it's too erasable. It's like it's too smooth, and she already looks different. Good. Yeah, it really changes. It turns her from like an ordinary person that you might actually bump into or Trader Joe's or something, and then turns her into something exotic, something in a fantasy world. And now we're going to turn into a cartoon Thanksgiving turkey. Allison, I was about to ask you how you're handling quarantine, but you're not on. I bet you're not quarantined, are you? You're an essential. You're an essential service. I am not an essential service. In this, that one right there, that one of those pictures I'm looking at, has this kind of a thing going on. You are definitely essential. Hi, John. Stellar and I went for a bike ride yesterday. Got hot and sweaty because it's already hot here. And came back, took a shower, changed my clothes, all that. Then I had a package. I had to take it to the post office, which isn't that far away. And I thought, I could just ride my bike. And then I thought about it and I realized I'm going to get all hot and sweaty again and have to change my clothes and take another shower. It's just like, screw it. It'll be easier just to take the car. So I went out and I looked at the car, which I have not driven in a while. And it was so coated in dust that I had to wash the car before I got it and went to the post office. It might have been easier to take my bike. NU Pastel. Also comes in a variety of colors. I never buy anything but white. And it is, it's basically got the same material as a white paint. It's just suspended in whatever they make chalk out of. So it's thick and extremely white. Really covers. It's just like putting a coat of paint on here. And yet it's dry, and you could smear some of it out if you wanted to. There's a lot of pigment in it. I really like it for things like what I'm doing, for giving the sense of shiny pieces of metal. Since I've got light coming from up here and shining over, I don't want to put too much white over there. I do want to catch like some rims, like these separate pieces, but then we'll do a lot of it on this side. And yeah, I like that a lot. Her hair's coming down and covering most of what this would be, a necklace of some kind. That's okay. It's okay. I like it. Not sure I like the bird. Goofy ass looking turkey bird. I have reached a point with this drawing. I sketched all this yesterday, then I wiped it out, then I sketched it again. And of course, I left a lot of material behind. Hi, Dennis. Good to see you again. Each time, each pass leaves more stuff into the paper. And it's a terrible noise. What is that? Okay, hang on. Is it this noise here? No. This chair? I'm rocking around on my chair. Or is it this noise? The chalk can make a squeaky sound. Hard to say. What was I saying? Oh, the paper. The paper gets the texture of the paper gets full of stuff, and so the paper starts to get smoother and smoother, and it's not accepting the additional. What am I trying to say? My charcoal is not accepting the charcoal as much, so it's harder to make a strong line or a dark line. I have noticed from going and watching the videos on the replay, when I mess with my tray right here, it barely makes a light clinking sound in the room, but on the video it sounds wet and gloop, 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 gloop. And this stuff sounds louder and scrapier. Sorry about that. I have no videography knowledge. I don't know how to adjust the sounds or anything. In fact, I have these little earbuds that I'm supposed to be wearing because they're like headphones with a speaker in them. And you put them in your ear and you hold the little button down and they go beep, and then you're on, and they won't turn off. So I don't know. I'm working without equipment. I'm just getting what the microphone on the computer wants to pick up. Can do a little trick here like this with the black. It gives the illusion of reflections in the glass, in the metal. Gives you a little bit of a sense of, more of a sense of it being shiny, reflective. I did some videos a while ago and my chair squeaked so much I went and got some oil and oiled it, so it sounds a lot better than it used to. So what I can do, not on video, you understand, but what I can do is hey, somebody sent me a GIF. Here, let me. That's it. Ah, it's a picture of a peacock. Look at that. All right, I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna use that right there. Got a narrower beak. I was just sitting here going, I should have picked up a picture of a peacock. to use as a photo reference before I start this. Instead of this grainy photo of a 1930s film. Or I'm going to change it all together and turn it into a dragon or something. I might do that. It's the only part of it I don't especially like right now. But because I'm having problems with my paper being too saturated with stuff, I can spray it with this stuff right here. It's awful stinky. I can't do it indoors. Got to do it outdoors. And let that dry. And that will give me, it'll lock down this stuff and it'll give me a surface, a transparent sort of surface to the paper that will be a little bit more like a fresh piece of paper. It's not 100% like a fresh piece of paper. And in fact, it will behave differently. And that takes some people off guard, but, you know, if you don't know what to expect, because it's gonna, you know, like your next pencil line might actually be much darker than all the other pencil lines or something, because it tends to go darker after you've sprayed it. So you're always in for surprises. Hi, Rachel. Stellar's joined us. Hi. And yeah, I kind of love it too. Mostly. I've spent most of my quarantine feeling miserable. I've been doing this kind of thing just to try to cheer myself up. And I'm still miserable, but I been working on some things. I figure, you know, I could spend my time better, you know. And so I've been doing a bunch of little drawings of hands, because my hands and feet are always the weakest part of any drawing that I do. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I may not go any further. I think that might be it. But when I do a drawing, the hands and feet are always the weakest element of the drawing, and so I think I might, you know, want to work on that. And got the time, so and I got some paper, so I'm going to sit here and do dozens and dozens of little hands and feet studies, which I probably will not show you because it's boring. But and at first they're not going to be very good, you know. But I just kind of made the decision that I'm going to master that. You know, so other than that, you know, my drawings are pretty good, except for, you know, basic anatomy and facial expressions and action, proportions and perspective and color. Terrible at color. Yeah, my drawings are good. My oil paintings are need work too. So yeah, I need to work on hands and feet. I need to work on expressions. I need to get comfortable with oil paints, painting figures and faces, and and landscapes and animals still lifes, everything. So yeah. So that may be it. I'm cheating you by 5 minutes. It's only been 25 minutes, and but I don't feel at the moment like there's really too much more that I want to do to this thing, except possibly just go right ahead and get rid of that damn goofy cartoon bird there. I knew it was going to be a problem, and it was. I think I'll just take it out in so much as I can. So you can't get it out entirely, only mostly. So possibly it could be a snake or a dragon. Have little horns on it. That's kind of goofy looking too. See how hard this is? It's hard. Leave it to the professionals. You love that. What did you love? I've erased two things at this point. You loved the um, peacock, or you loved the dragon that I just did. She's not answering. Maybe she left. Did you leave? The bird head. Okay. All right. We're going to go back to the bird. Back to the bird. It's like a Sesame Street reunion. Back to the bird. All right. This stuff is just a little darker. All right. Made it to my 30 minutes. Stop that. And there we go. Just put a little bit of highlight on the bird head. Might be just about good to go. And if I come back later on and erase that bird and put a pig on there or something, I just won't tell Allison I did it. You'll never know. Make it a goat. I might. I might just a winged feathered goat. That's the great. It's the great Mayan myth, the return of the feathered goat. And that's about all I have today. I'm glad you had fun. I appreciate it. And if 3 o'clock works for you guys, I'll continue coming back at 3 o'clock. I was doing things at 2 before. I tried 11 before. I don't see a big difference other than doing it later gives me more time to be ready to do it. But anyway, thank you all for coming, and I will see you again tomorrow. And I don't know what we're going to do. We're going to do something. Bye-bye.